Hey neighbors, this video is part of the What Would You Make Open Challenge. I'll tell you a little bit more about it after the first project. Project number 1, vintage tree on a tag. It's a wood pieces tree with a vintage look, and the background is a tag. I cut these pieces with my miter saw, and then I sanded the edges because it's a pretty rough cut. You know, it's a good quality miter saw, so I'm not sure why the cut is so rough, but it is. So we sanded it down so we didn't get any slivers. I missed, at the beginning there, I missed the painting of the tag. That's the Apothecary, the DIY paint. And I was doing stuff out of order, and I thought I was still recording, and I wasn't. But we didn't miss too much. I'm going back over it now with some of the tarnished pearl. That's the white DIY paint. And I'm doing this because I wanted to use decoupage paper, and you need something a little bit lighter behind it. The Apothecary was a bit too dark. So you'll notice I taped it off there. So there's still some green on the top and bottom and side to side, and that sort of makes a little frame for the white. I think it's going to look really cool. This is sea green. I wanted to add some olive to it to make it look more vintagey, but my olive is completely dried up. I stuck a paintbrush right inside and nothing came up on it. So I'm going to dry the sea green. Give it a quick start here. And then on top of that dried green paint, I'm going to rub some burnt umber. This is all acrylic paint. Just happened to be in the colors that I wanted. So got all the burnt umber there, and I like how it dulls down the green, gives it a vintage look. Now I'm coming in with some fresh sandpaper. And this is going to bring out the white underneath. And it came out exactly how I had hoped for, exactly what I had in my head. So glad I painted over the white. The edges, makes the edges just pop. So we did the same thing with each little piece. And now I'm going to reveal the tag. Such a nice, clean, finished look. Again, I love how this turned out. The Apothecary green there, that just creates a nice frame. And now I'm going to lay my decoupage paper down. Oh, I'm sanding it there because there was a little bit of a bleed through. So I'm just trying to make it less noticeable. I am now a Plaid ambassador. And these are some Plaid products. We all love our Plaid products, don't we? So, if you go to plaidonline.com and use the code Sharon124, you will get a 15% discount. I'm using the matte Mod Podge in this instance. It kind of leaves a mark there. That's because the DIY paint needs to be sealed. And I didn't seal it because it's just going to be the background for the decoupage paper. So I wasn't too worried about it. And you notice as I keep going, it kind of evens out a little bit. Now this decoupage paper, probably like any decoupage paper, has stuff going like side to side, up and down. So, you know, you just want to make sure you do a dry fit and you know how it's going to look. I chose this corner. I figured better to take a piece from the corner. Make things easier the next time you use it. And I just, after I ironed it, I didn't get that on camera, but I ironed it with my Hippo heat press. And then let it cool off just a little bit, and then use the ruler to tear off the edges. And I want to tear rather than cut. I thought that would make it stay on better, and I like the look of it. I have some more spare twine here. This came off of an egg garland from spring. I'm just using a small amount of glue every once in a while, not the whole time. I want to make sure I get the glue in the corners So you notice I do the corner, side and top all at the same time, so we get a nice precise corner there. Not super precise, but precise enough. Then I use my Gorilla wood glue and my hot glue to get a permanent hold and then a right away hold so you can keep working. And I be careful not to let the two different glues touch. So you notice I do the hot glue on the edges and then in the middle. Here I just do it in the middle because it's getting smaller and smaller. Just as long as you have the two on there, I don't think it matters. I just try to even it out. But then when they're small like this, you kind of have to just put them side to side. And I did it a little wonky because I kind of liked how that looked. I kept doing the dry fit. When I was doing the dry fit, it was straight. And it just seemed kind of boring. So here's an awareness shape with my ribbon. And then you just need to scrunch it up in the middle. Tie it with a piece of twine and knot it in the back. And then hot glue it to the tag. I'm going to dovetail the ends. And even after all this time, I still make mistakes when I'm dovetailing. So I fixed that up. And then I gotta make the other one short. Alright, I'm just going to use a piece of nautical rope to hang it, and you'll get a better look at this during the final reveal. Jumping in with a little bit more information about the playlist. There's no theme, just make stuff with wood. Hosts are Brenda from Rustic and Lace DIY and Christine from Divine Designs. This month's guest host is Lisa from Crafting My Best Life with Lisa. Their channel links and a link to the playlist will be in my description box below, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the video. Project number 2, Wood Tree Vignette. This is a scrap piece of wood I had in our garage, and it was almost a Christmas tree, so I fixed it up a little bit with my miter saw. And here it is with this Autumn Blessings artwork, and I'm going to use it as like a garden box or a shadow box. And I did that in spring with some flowers as well too. I like using those pieces of art as shadow box or putting something into it. This is Apothecary DIY paint, and we're just going to get a quick coat of that on my tree. And I like it like that, and so I chose not to do it any darker. Now this is me trying to moisten the paper and scrape it off, but as you can see, it doesn't work for me. I don't know why. I don't have my sprayer, maybe that's why. I used the dabber, the foam dabber. So I gave up at this point. What I was trying to do more or less was there was paper going over the edges so you could see it when it was turned this way. So I got rid of that, so I was okay. I also fixed some of the edges there, came out like the exact same color, I swear. Now this is what happens when you rest your glue gun into a plastic condiment tray. It's what I use for my paint, and it melted all the way through, and then it turns off by itself, so then it was stuck. So we're going to start things off here by just gluing everything in and on. A lot of gluing in this one. I have a bag with bottle brush trees and also some little bottle brush wreaths. So I put one of the wreaths on the tree, and I put 2 gold shiny trees on either side, and I chose to put the wood tree in the corner like that. I thought it was a little bit more interesting. And then I have a bunch of different kinds of ribbon and widths of ribbon, and I decided to put that on top instead of a star. I had a star, but I don't know, it I think for the size of the tree, anything I had just looked too big. So I thought the bow looked, you know, better as far as the space issue goes. I dug through, I have like 3 big freezer bags full of random embellishments, and I found this green rickrack in one of them. And I like the sort of waviness of it. It's a little bit thicker than other rickrack I've seen, but I thought it would look good with the contrast between the dark green and the light green. So I wrapped that around it like a garland for the tree. And I fixed it so it looked good on the sides and the back as well, because you will be seeing the sides and the back. I have this moss, I think it's reindeer moss, which is appropriate for Christmas, right? This is kind of Christmassy, but it can also be winter because we put our trees up long before Christmas, right? I couldn't find my snow right away, so I took off some of these white and gold berries because they reminded me of snowballs. But then I found my snowflakes. So I just left the faux snowballs there, and I'm going to do like a drizzle of glue on the trees and on the sides to make some of that snow stay when I sprinkle it down on top. And in the top of my bag there, I had some polyfill. So if I want to, you know, fill in something thicker, it's there for me. So you put the clear glue on top of the wood tree there, and then the snow stays. And I'm so glad I found my snow. It looks so much better. Better look at the final reveal. Okay, third and final project is this bead tree. I'm making it using a Dollar Tree bead hoop and some apothecary chalk paint that I purchased from Sammy at Unicorn Dust Designs. And she has lots and lots of cool colors. You really need to check her out. So I'm leaving the beads on the hoop. That was the whole idea. I've done trees like this before using the bare wire and then threading the beads on it afterwards. But I wanted this one just a little bit bigger, and I have a bunch of these hoops and want to use them. So I'm taking the apothecary, which is a pretty light green, and just going to do every bead. But in my head there was some contrast, like dark light or red green. So what I decided on was just a brighter, darker green every other bead. And you know, I wasn't doing it perfect because I know I'm going to come back later and finish it up. But I want to get the majority of it done. So I'm painting a little bit slower this color, just because it's darker, and it's going to be super noticeable if you mess up. Then I undid the loop using one of my jewelry pliers there and took some beads off, so I had some wire to work with. Then I straightened out that other loop just a bit, and I'm going to wrap it around my little paint container here. I figure that shape is good for the base of the tree. And then once I knew where I wanted to join it, I went ahead and pushed a few more beads onto it. And then put the loop on there and just tightened that loop up. And there we have the base of the tree. Oh, wait. We need a couple more beads there. It was a little too bare. Now we're going to tighten it. And there's the base. And you see how it's actually supporting what's there already. So I'm just going to manipulate it, just kind of mess around with it. It's going to get all wonky and bent, so you want to try and get it as round as possible. That's what's going to look best. I left the loop, the wire part of the loop on the top visible because I want to put something on it in a second. First I'm going to finish the painting part. Now that the tree has its shape, I'm going to go back in and get the obvious spots where the wood color is still showing through. And then I went through a little bag of random Christmas things and came across this little sparkly silver bell. And I'm just going to use a tiny piece of wire that I believe I pulled out of some wired ribbon. And I put that, threaded that through the back of the bell and then onto the loop on the tray, and then just twisted it like a bread tie. And trimmed it. And you get a good look at this during the final reveal.